Hey, what is up, y'all? We are back with another action figure review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the premium DNA Earthworm Jim figure. Now, it took a while for this figure to come out, right? But I think the question that everybody is asking now is this figure a bootleg or not? And honestly, in my opinion, I think it's kind of a toss-up, but I will say that I hope it is a bootleg because there's a couple things that I wish was a little different. By the way, I do have to replace my microphone, so I hope that you guys bear with me and it's not too bad. I remember when I very first saw this figure thinking like, damn, it wasn't that long ago where I was like thinking to myself, we need some representation of this dude right here. So after I put my pre-order in, a couple months went past, we weren't hearing anything about this figure. So I started thinking, damn, you know what? I don't know, man. It sounds too good to be true. Maybe this figure won't even come out. So when I saw these on AliExpress, naturally I was a little skeptical, but I figure I still got my pre-order over at Big Bad Toy Store. So let me just try it out and see what it looks like. Back in the days, man, the Super Nintendo was life. I played a lot of games back then, but the only ones I think I ever even beat was like the Street Fighter games. Earthworm Jim was one of those that always gave me some trouble. It was that race, man. I think it was with Psycho or something like that. I never got past that. So then I always had to fight the boss, which I'd lose to. So after a while, I just kind of put the game down. When it comes to video game mascots like Crash Bandicoot, Sparrow, stuff like that, I think Earthworm Jim has probably the best, coolest design out there. That he's grouchy only makes him more interesting. Even the game was pretty fun and it was challenging. I love the way he could just take his head off and ring it to like hook on and stuff. It was such a cool character, and I think Premium DNA captured his likeness perfectly. Now, there are some engineering choices I wish was a little bit different, like his holster. It's not really designed to put the gun into it. I'm not even sure if that actually happens in the game or not, but it doesn't do that, and there's no articulation to it. So as you can imagine, it will hinder the leg movement. My piece ended up popping off, and you know what? I think I'm gonna keep it like that, but it is keyed in case I want to glue it back. And there's the straps. I'm not sure how they could have mitigated that, but it's not completely floaty. It's glued in two different parts of the torso. It does have a little bit of a stretch to it. I also wish they would have went with a soft plastic for the torso and a diaper like how Storm Collectibles does theirs. So you're not going to get any dual wielding action with the pistol. So that's unfortunate. But other than that, though, I think he looks superb. I really like the tone of this figure too. That stark white coupled with that blue. This figure's definitely an eye catcher, and the sculpt work they did for his faces, man, they look great, like damn near perfect. I love all the paint they crammed into his facial features as well, even his outfit. This figure is awesome. So for his look, I'm gonna give him a 9.5. I think his straps could be a little more seamless. For his accessories, so the standard loadout for Earthworm Jim is actually a pretty good spread, and at the last minute I got the heads pack. I'm gonna cover that a little bit later in the video. All the essential hands, you got your trigger hands, your fist hands, your relaxed splayed out hands. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised they didn't give him like a bird flipping hands. That would have been kind of cool. And then you got a signature blaster here. Nothing real extensive going on with it. I guess it looks accurate. I think that yellow could use another coat, though. He's got 3 different head sculpts, and I could talk about these head sculpts all day long. The skin tone, the complexion, the tone, the non-symmetrical look for the eyes. The tail part of his head does have a little bit of a flex to it, and I like that all 3 faces have a distinct, like, they're completely different from each other. That's pretty cool. And lastly, you do get a couple swap out pieces for his backpack, which holds snot. Well, not literally, but I think that's what his buddy is called. Well, you probably keep moving on. I think he looks pretty good. Honestly, I don't really remember this guy, so I can't say if it's accurate or not, but I do like the bright colors. None of these pieces have any articulation, and they are hard plastic, so I would be careful. I wonder what they would look like if I put like a fluorescent light to it. Probably good. I'm gonna have to try that later. And then you have his shooting snot accessory, which does look pretty good. It does make him a little bit back heavy though, and it doesn't have any bendable components in it, so that's unfortunate. So I could think of 2 accessories that they did not include. Didn't include some type of pack you could buy or anything like that that would have made this the definitive Earthworm Jim, and that's a rocket. This guy wouldn't be complete without a rocket. That's a signature thing. And they also could have used like a flash bang effect or something like that for his blaster. That would have been pretty cool. I do wish they included a stand, but you get a lot of different options for his buddy Snot, so that's pretty cool if you're into that. And he's got a couple different faces, all the essential hands, so I'm gonna give his accessories for the price a 9.5.
Very well, good sir. I challenge you to a duel.
Regular.
Whoa, hey.
For the articulation, you could kind of look at this figure and take a guess what his range and his tension is going to be like, and more than likely you'd be correct. It's just a ball peg at the neck, so not too much range. I don't know if it could be done, but I kind of wish they would have put a wire in his head. That would have gave him much more range, and it would have been cool. I do like that you can see the rest of his worm body in that collar, so that's nice. As I mentioned, you will have some limitations at the shoulders. In all the previous promotional images, they had him with his arms slightly flared out, so at one point I thought he couldn't get him more flesh, so I'm happy to say that he can get him better than what it looks like on the packaging. I'll show you guys that. that later. If you bend the joint at his elbows closest to his wrist, you can etch out just a smudge more in his elbow articulation, so that's okay. The legs, I would say, is the weakest point of his articulation. You got balls at the thighs. You do got to mess with those a little bit to get his leg all the way out. That's what she said. You only have 1 point of rotation at the leg, so that is a bummer. I understand it might be a little jarring if you put a cut at the ankles, but come on, man, at least put a ball hinge or something. You need 2 points of rotation at the leg. As you can see, that ankle rotation is really steep, like Marvel Legends steep, so that sucks. And you won't be getting any good 3-point stances with this guy, but it's side to side at the torso. It's not too bad. I'm tempted to cut those straps to kind of free up more range, take them apart, see what I can do with them, but I know it's not going to look the same. Anybody else an SNES consumer? I want to know, what is your favorite game you used to play on a Super Nintendo? Mine would have to be like Tetris Attack with Yoshi in it. That game was so cool. So we can't deny how good Earthworm Jim looks visually, but it's not until you look a little closer till you see all the many paint defects and damages that this figure has. It's all over his body, all over his head sculpts. That's one of the reasons I'm hoping this is a bootleg. Maybe the official one might look a little better. And also the tension at his legs, they're getting really floppy. It's getting really difficult to balance this guy. So I'm gonna give his quality a 6.9. And real quick, I'll just go over his head pack accessory. So you get 6 different heads with the worm body. So that's pretty cool. The worm body doesn't bend or anything, so that's a little unfortunate, and it doesn't balance very well, but the packaging for the figure looks great. And the paint job for the additional heads is worse than the original head, so that's a bummer. And I like that they included a burnt head sculpt as well, but the sculpt work for the crevice at his mouth gives me like the chills, man. Like, it kind of creeps me out a little bit. But with the heads pack, you essentially get all the different expressions you could want. Some of them might look a little similar, but the angle of the eyes are a little different. So if you're interested in getting this figure, it's almost pretty much a no-brainer to get the heads pack. And they all put in nice and easy, and I like the fact that the tail end of his head is facing different directions on some of the head sculpts. That's kind of cool. For your size comparisons, here we have him next to your Articulated Icons Ninja, your Jada Toys, and your Lil Wayne. Next, here we have him next to your NECA, your Mythic Legions, and your Target Mario. And lastly, here we have him next to your Classified Series and your Kotobukiya Zero Model Kit. So final thoughts on the premium DNA Earthworm Jim figure. If this figure is in fact a bootleg, then color me impressed. I think Big Bad Toy Store has this figure for like 50-something dollars, so if you need a much cheaper Earthworm Jim, the AliExpress version is more than exceptional. I can't ignore the quality issues, so I'm hoping this is in fact an imitation, but if it is the real thing, then it's not worse than I expected it to be. If you got it, get it, go for it. I would still recommend this version. Final score, I'm gonna give them an 8. All right, y'all, that's the video. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.